Ross.
Everybody get low, everybody gotta hold on to. Every day we gotta grow, finding people you can hold on to. Everybody get low, everybody gotta hold on to. Every day we gotta grow, finding people you can hold on to. But it's time for a word with Sturg. Let's take all the pain, let's take all the hurt. Let's turn it around till the pain doesn't hurt and the world doesn't worry. We all got some problems, we all in a hurry. And now it's time for a word with Sturg. And now it's time for a word with Sturg. I've been hurting too, but I'm flipping the mood. If you deal with depression or just stuck in the blues, we can make it out like we've been stuck in some ways. You can change, elevate where you are. Know it's harder some days, but today you a start. Look in the heart, we all got peace but don't know where to start. Time for some healing, with Sturg it'll start. Look in the heart, look in the mind. Better yourself, you'll be better with time. Don't gotta rush, it's one step at a time. Clearing the mental and freeing the mind. Everybody gotta hold on to. Every day we gotta grow, finding people you can hold on to. Everybody get low, everybody gotta hold on to. Every day we gotta grow, finding people you can hold on to. But it's time for a word with Sturg. Let's take all the pain, let's take all the hurt. Let's turn it around till the pain doesn't hurt and the world doesn't worry. We all got some problems, we all in a hurry. And now it's time for a word with Sturg. And now it's time for a word with Sturg.
Guys, welcome back to A Word with Sturg. I'm your host, Jon Sturgis. I just want to start off by saying thank you guys for all the support. I got some very, very inspiring messages after the first episode, and I also got some criticism as well. And I want to say I do appreciate the criticism too, and the people that want to see me do better with this. You know, I already knew some of the criticism coming in. For one, that episode was a little bit different than I want the rest of them to be, right? That one was very raw, and honestly, I just picked up the mic. I did it in one take, and I just wanted to tell my story. I didn't really rehearse it at all. I didn't take any notes or anything like that. So I definitely did some bouncing around for sure, and I left some things out, I feel like, because of it. We'll probably touch on some of those things in future episodes, but the other episodes in this podcast will be a little bit of a different format. You know, this one here I took some notes on, and we'll continue to do so in the future. But today's episode is going to be about breaking generational curses, right? And becoming a transitional character. And to start off, I'm going to ask the question, what is a transitional character, right? A transitional character is defined as a remarkable individual who, within a single generation, alters the entire trajectory of a lineage. The term was coined by the late Carl Fred Broderick. He was a distinguished marriage and family scholar from the USC. Shout out to my Trojans. Those of you who know me best, y'all know I'm a USC fan for football. I know it's March Madness. We're not going to talk about who I'm a fan of for NCAA basketball. Kentucky. We're not going to talk about all that right now, but now on the real, so the concept, right, of becoming a transitional character, it describes somebody who breaks free from negative family patterns and refuses to perpetuate damaging behaviors to future generations. These transitional characters, they play a very, very vital role in reshaping family culture altogether. And to start off, right, number one, transitional characters, they tend to grow up in environments that are marked by abuse, emotional toxicity, and even destructive patterns. And yet, despite these challenges, they find a way to metabolize the poison and choose not to pass it on to their children. They defy the notion that abused children become abusive parents or that negative family traits must persist across generations, right? They're choosing to break free from the cycle and be different, create a different life, you know, for themselves and for their immediate family and the people around them, and also for future generations. So they start off, number two, by refuting the cycle. You got to filter out the destructiveness from your lineage, okay? And transitional characters, they create a supportive foundation for future generations. They refuse to perpetuate harmful behaviors and instead pave the way for healthier relationships and positive family dynamics, right? And number three, they make very educated choices. becoming a transitional character, you see, it involves conscious effort. And these individuals who choose this path, they develop a vision of themselves as agents of change. They actively seek education, build supportive relationships with strong adults, and they make deliberate choices to break free from negative patterns. Number 4, they take accountability, right? You have to emphasize the fact that individuals who violate family responsibilities, right? And you don't have to necessarily believe in God, but individuals who violate family responsibilities will be held accountable before God. And transitional characters, they take this responsibility very seriously and they work to create a better legacy for their descendants. So this episode is going to be a little bit shorter, I feel like, than the rest, because episode 1 was getting into my story and how I essentially went down the dark path that I went down and, came across the depression and how that started and the mental health issues as well, right? So episode 2 here, this is essentially taking you to where I want to go, right? And for those of you that need to hear this, where I want you guys to go as well, because I know I'm not alone in this, and then all the other episodes will kind of get to all the stuff that's in the middle. But when I first heard this concept of transitional characters, like I was very intrigued. For one, I was inspired too, because I knew that that was the path that I was on. I just didn't know that there was a name to it. And so I've kind of locked myself in and devoted myself to becoming exactly that, a transitional character, right? And it can be people that have had addictions in their family, right? Or abuse, whether that's physical, mental, whatever. It can be people who in their family have had, people that may have molested them or just any kind of toxic, horrible traits and issues and generational curses that essentially, we don't know when they started. They could have started with your great grandfather. They could have started before that. Could have started with your mother, your dad, whoever. Wherever they started, you made the choice, right? You make the choice that you don't want to continue that. And it's wild because, like I said earlier, it's not just you, right? We think that the things that we do only have an effect on us in the immediate, right? And in the short term. But truthfully, it's impacting our relationships, right? And who we choose to be partnered with. It's affecting our children that we have or may end up having eventually. And it can be from generations ago that these curses started, but you're choosing to be the agent that makes the change and says, nah, this is not going to impact me and my family any longer. And not only that, but you're setting the tone and building a structure, a very strong, solid structure for future generations. You're altering the entire lineage, essentially. And I don't want you guys to think by any means that it's something that's going to be easy. It's not. It's definitely not going to be easy. Deciding to make these changes can be very difficult, especially when those toxic behaviors and those generational curses, all the things that lead to them and all the things that embody and encompass them, they may feel normal to you. They may even feel comfortable. But the reality is that it's not the way that you should live. Just because you saw your mom go through that, like I saw, my mother was abused, physically abused. I know she suffered some mental abuse as well. And my grandmother, God rest her soul, I know she suffered from both of those as well. And I'm not too close with a lot of my family, but I bet you if you go deeper, right, you can find even more of those issues. All right. But the fact of the matter is, I'm making a choice that I don't want to do that. I don't want to carry those traits and pass those traits on to my future children, to my future partner. I want to do something different, right? Now, like I said, it's not going to be easy. But if you really think about it, what's more difficult? Deciding to make these changes and become a transitional character, or is it going to be more difficult in the long run for you to stay in the same toxic mindset, right, with these same generational curses? I don't really know. I can't choose for you. I know somebody right now very close to me that is, and I'm sure I know a lot more people like this too, but like I said, it's close to me, so it really hits home. But I know somebody very close to me that's stuck in the cycle, that it didn't start with him, but he's kind of letting those things, those generational curses affect him, and he's just very stagnant, right? I'm not going to touch on all that today. This is, my story that I want to tell. I want to tell things from my perspective, and I don't want to bring anybody else necessarily into it that doesn't want to be in it. But you can make the choice, right? You can make the change no matter how long you feel like you've been stuck in these patterns. At any point in time in your life, any day, you can wake up and say, I'm going to make a change today. So I really want to challenge you guys, right? I really want to challenge you guys who have been through these things and you're trying to break the cycle, but you feel like you're stuck in the cycle. I want to challenge you to make a conscious decision and a conscious effort and deliberate. You got to be deliberate. I feel like you have to be very, very intentional when you decide that you want to start a new process. And I feel like you really have to be intentional with anything in your life, right? I try to live intentionally every single day. The choices that I make, the actions I take, I want to make them very intentional. My grandmother used to say that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And instead of you being in control of your life, you let other circumstances and other factors dictate your life, right? And life happens to you instead of you being the one to make things happen yourself. And you may have to rid yourself of relationships. Realistically, like you may have to break free, and you're definitely gonna have to set some boundaries with the family members and the people in your life who are stuck in these cycles. I'm not saying that you got to cut them off, right? You can still love them. You can still give time, and you can give energy, at your own. I mean, be cautious when you do that, right? Because anything you give energy to, a lot of the time, it's not only us giving energy, but it's things, people taking the energy from you, right? When you're around negative people and toxicity, it's not you that's altering their energy. It's their energy that ends up altering you. But when you begin to grow and you begin to shine and you begin to emit radiation and light, then you can affect the things and the people around you. And even then, you have to be very cautious about who you're giving your time and your energy to. Like I said, you don't have to cut them off completely. You can still love them, but you have to limit. You got to limit the amount of time that you give and that you spend with these people. If you want to grow, if you want to do things differently, right? You want to make changes, then you have to essentially, sometimes you got to change your circle, right? You got to decide this person is not good for me, right? When we hang out, these same recurring negative things that happen over again, or we just drink together, right? Or we just smoke together, and then what do you have, right? I'm on let me see, I'm on day 48 now of not smoking. I'm on day 18 of not drinking. And I'm not condemning alcohol or weed. I think weed can be a very good thing for you, depending on the circumstances, depending on how you use it. But if you hang out with people and all y'all do when you hang out is do drugs and drink, then, and I'm finding this out now, like, what is there for y'all to do when you stop those things and when you want to break free from those patterns? And what you're going to find too is that a lot of times when you decide and you make an effort to start changing, you're going to find that those people that benefited from you being in that same cycle, right? You're going to find that a lot of those people are going to try to drag you right back into it. Or they may even throw shade and act like, oh, you're too good for us now. And it's not the case at all. personally, I don't think that I'm better than anybody at all, right? It's like the J. Cole song, Love Yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. I don't think I'm better than anyone, but I understand that if I want to continue on this path of growth and of development that I'm on, there's certain people that I can't spend time with all that often. There's certain behaviors that I cannot continue to do, certain traits that I can't continue to exhibit, and I'm far from perfect. But it's like my guy Tyrese Maxey. Shout out to the Sixers. It's like my guy Tyrese Maxey says, he always says it. Every day you want to get 1% better. And so I want to leave you with this. You can break generational curses. I remember when I was stuck in that depression, and I'm 30 years old now, right? And the reality of it is I probably dealt with depression and those mental health issues I faced for probably 28 years of my life till I really started to get out of it. But it doesn't matter how long you're in it for, right? And when I was in it, I used to think that I was never going to get out of it. Like I was never going to ever get out of that darkness. So why keep trying? Why keep going? Why keep living? But I had a talk with this guy at work today. And that's another cool thing about this whole podcast thing. I feel like it's opened up dialogue with so many people about issues that we're just naturally not comfortable talking about. But this gentleman at work, he said to me, when you're in that darkness, right, you have to stop seeing it as a cave and you have to see that darkness as a tunnel because there's always light at the end of it. As long as you choose to see it, there's always light at the end of it. And as far as that choosing to see it, it's tough. It can be so extremely difficult. But neuroplasticity plays such a vital role in that, I feel like. And so that's what I'm going to leave y'all with today. And we're going to pick up and we're going to talk about neuroplasticity a little bit more in the next episode, right? So I want to thank you guys for listening. Those that watched the first episode already, thank y'all for coming back. For those that's your first episode here watching, thank you for joining. And we're going to see y'all next time, right? Have an amazing day. Stay blessed and just decide I'm going to be a transitional character.